The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink TV, its sponsors, or partners.
Hi there, I'm Gloria McCluskey, and you're watching Destination Dartmouth. I'm down here this morning. My destination is the beautiful Dartmouth waterfront, and my guest is David Harrison, one of the founding members of the Destination Dartmouth Association. Thank you, David Harrison, for coming here to meet with me this morning. It's a beautiful day to be down here in the gorgeous Dartmouth waterfront. Today, David, my destination is here on the waterfront, but my discussion with you is about, you're one of the founders of the Destination Dartmouth Association.
Yes, one of them.
So, yeah, one of them, yeah. So why?
Why?
Oh, well, I guess we'll start first. What is Destination?
What is it? It's a society that's formed to preserve and promote Dartmouth's identity and its heritage, and also to create a healthier community. It has a pretty wide mandate, but I think that's convenient for us at this point in time. It is about tourism, but a lot more than that. So we're focused quite a bit on defining our assets and being able to promote that for people that live here and visit here.
So that's what the mandate is. So why?
It came about by about 8 people who did not know each other on social media, and I was one of them. And a decision to move forward on clarifying that Dartmouth needs to be promoted as Dartmouth, because that's what it is.
We are still Dartmouth.
Yeah, and but also in looking at the lack of information about Dartmouth and the lack of promotion about Dartmouth. And from my perspective, it was really the canoe championships last year where there was no promotion about an event here that brought in $3 million worth of economic value.
To Dartmouth?
To Dartmouth. Well, to HRM generally. So it raises the question about the assets that are here and how they're being promoted. So there's no information that you can readily find about Dartmouth. And that's really been the sort of the founding rationale for the organization. So now it's evolved a bit. It's been up and running just for about 11 months. And there's 4 or 5 interesting initiatives that are underway. And so when I stand back and look at the brief history, it really is a community development agency which will advocate for the interests of our community. So that's a bit on the background of it.
And you are registered, or we are, I should say.
We are, yeah. You're the president, so
I'm the chair.
I should be asking you the questions.
No. So we are a registered society.
That's right, yeah.
And we usually meet monthly.
About that, yeah.
Yeah. So, and we have a lot of, or our members are all very interested in the promotion of this great, still city of Dartmouth. Yeah.
Well, so we don't have, our membership structure is just at this point the people that follow the group on Facebook. And then we have board members, of course. Yes. And we may, and we have some sponsors because we're self-financing. So we're we don't have a formal membership system.
And we don't have paid staff.
We don't have any. No, it's totally volunteer, and that's really the best form of community development when, community members come together and say we'd like to accomplish something, and that's what's going on in Dartmouth. In the work I do across Nova Scotia, I find strong commitment from people to their communities. Right. So Dartmouth is no different than that, and what we're doing is not particularly different either. So, we're forming a website for our community. That's not unique because there's lots of examples of communities within district municipalities or regional municipalities that have the same thing. So that's not particularly unique. And I really think it's time for our our community to understand the wonderful assets that we have. We all walk around with it in our heads, but actually seeing it live or on not even paper, but in digital form, I think is going to be extremely interesting.
To think that in the city of Dartmouth itself we have 23 wonderful lakes.
Yeah.
Where would you ever find?
Well, that's one of the assets. So people say, well, what's unique about Dartmouth? And it does come down to active living. So people get out and enjoy our environment. And Expedia just 1 or 2 weeks ago designated Dartmouth as number 18 in Canada for most active living cities.
I know, I saw that.
Now, why would that be? Well, we take these things for granted, but we have the 23 lakes or 24 or whatever the number is. I think it's 23. We have tremendous trail systems here. We have the canal, and we have opportunities for active living and ecotourism here, which are pretty unique for an urban community.
And we have a beautiful golf course right in the middle.
Yeah, we have our own golf course right in the center. We have 10 hotels and 7 bed and breakfasts and a campground. So our tourism industry is already here. People come here for specific reasons. And I think it's in everyone's best interest that the people that either live here or visit here get to understand where our restaurants are, where our unique hikes are, what kind of ecotourism opportunities we have, some of our sports and recreational events, our history. All of these things are really need to be packaged. So hotel owners can print off a walk, an interesting walk, maybe around the canal or Sullivan's Pond, and people will know what that is and where to go to find it. So it's come a long way in a few months.
But there's still a lot of work to be done.
Oh, there's a lot of work, yeah.
We want to do it right.
Yeah, yeah. And but I think there's been a good commitment from the board and good support from the people that follow what we do. And that's the fundamental, whether you're Dartmouth or Yarmouth or New Ross or Seaforth. All of these groups have got, their own community development initiatives.
Musquodoboit
Harbor. So, and that's the other thing. We're not particularly unique in the formation of a group to do this, because it's happening around HRM in Fall River and Musquodoboit Harbor. These communities are organizing to promote themselves. We have the tools to do it. We don't need tax dollars to do it.
No.
And it's the very best form of community engagement and adding value.
When you have committed people who can go out and tell the story, that means so much.
Yeah. So we have some of the other assets are, and what I find interesting is to watch the collaboration that's starting to happen between our business districts. So we have Burnside, which is in itself is a reason for people to come and visit. Those are business visitors. Yes. We have downtown, which is developing a real funkiness about it. Yes. And Main Street, which is on a really unique redevelopment path. So we have the 3 business districts that are going to be promoted, and what I'm finding intriguing is increasing collaboration between them on things like transit needs. So we will advocate for certain things, and if you think about transit, which are people getting from one place to another, that's a destination.
Yeah.
So if you take a very broad perspective on destination and keep focused on the mandate, a lot of things fall within it. And it's not, as I said, it's not just tourism promotion, but we could be a destination for investment.
So we're going to take a break now, David.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about the website.
Okay.
Why the need for it and what you will find out.
Okay, great.
Welcome back to Destination Dartmouth, and my guest is David Harrison, one of the founding members of Destination Dartmouth Association.
Yep.
David, we're going to talk about the website.
Okay. Well, it is in formative stages. I think the board is really impressed with the design and the work that's going into it.
Yes.
And if I could give it a snapshot, there are about 15 different modules. I spoke previously about the 3 business districts, but we have where to stay. So those would be our hotels and bed and breakfasts.
Right.
We have the main attractions, which would be Alderney Landing, our museum, some of those institutions in the community. We're going to have a restaurant guide, which will be an online guide that restaurants can register for.
Right.
And that'll be an interesting feature because it will show restaurants. They may be pubs, they may be fine dining, they may be clubs, or we may even get a couple of our brew pubs in there.
Fast food.
Breweries. Fast food, slow food, any kind of food. So that's that one. Definitely the history will be a module. I talked about the 3 districts. Board members have taken on different elements of this to do research and writing, and it is a complicated process, but on the other hand, I'm learning a lot about my community. I couldn't believe when I just finished ecotourism. I was really surprised at what tremendous assets we have in ecotourism. We have a canal district section, and we have sports and recreation.
I'm doing
You're
sports
doing
and
that
recreation.
one, and I'm probably missing a couple. And health and wellness is a unique one.
Entertainment.
Entertainment. So
We
these
have
are
a great little theater,
yeah.
the Dartmouth Theater, which is still operating,
Yeah.
and Creighton Avenue.
Yeah.
Great little theater.
Yeah, so all of those features will come into play. The value of this really is for the organizations that already do visitor work. And those organizations are like the paddling groups, the paddling championship, the canoe championships, Sedma Hockey. There's a new organization called Soul Sisters, and Soul Sisters organize long-distance runs or running for women. And if you look at those groups, you realize, well, they're all sporting groups, but we have people coming to Dartmouth for these particular events. That's our niche market, but we also have the military, we have international students at the 2 colleges. All of these organizations have, are bringing visitors here. And I think also the traveling public, the closeness to the airport, the ability for parking. And so the value of the website will be to communicate to people that are staying here, that are living here, and that are maybe staying elsewhere in HRM in Halifax, to know what's here, and to make their visit here as
a shopping destination.
Shopping. We've got Dartmouth Crossing and Micmac Mall and the downtown.
And Penhorn is going to be
Penhorn,
rejuvenated.
yeah. So we have unique, I think, attributes around these community assets, which are just being organized by the board. We have Leanne Mullins, who's doing this, is an excellent designer. And we have Chris McFarlane. Chris McFarlane Visuals is doing some aerial footage, some drone images. So that'll be a unique addition to the website as well. We're maybe 40% there. I'm not quite sure yet. Maybe 50%.
Well, we want to do it right.
Yeah,
we want to take our time.
Yeah, I'm confident we'll be there within the next 4 to 6 months, and I think at that point we'll see the value, and I think all of HRM will see the value in having this done.
And there are people who live in Dartmouth and don't know about everything.
That's part of it. It's not.
I mean, we have the great little oven.
Yeah,
in the park.
There's unique attractions like
that. Is very busy. I notice them there every day now, and people would like to find out about that.
Yeah.
And
a lot of, whether it's the pyramid down in the World Peace Pavilion. It's a very unique.
Terribly neglected, but
that's part of our role too, is to make sure our boardwalks are in good shape. There's some, memorials and signage that needs to be spruced up. We definitely need better signage along the waterfront and up into the canal. And we have partners that are working with us, the Downtown Dartmouth Business Commission, the Canal Commission, the Waterfront Development Corporation, and ourselves, around a concept called the Canal District. So what is it today, and how do we move forward? And one of the ways we're working with the Dalhousie School of Planning on that'll be initiated this fall. So if you do a really robust inventory of heritage around the Canal District, and then that leads you to look at how do you promote the various rich history around the canal, and then attend to some of the infrastructure needs like the trail connection and signage. And that's really where the association has a role in community advocacy and community development. So we have this mandate to form partnerships within anybody, really. Within the tourism industry, obviously, one of the modules would be make sure you visit Halifax by ferry. That would be our preferred route.
Right.
So whether it's Destination Eastern Shore or Destination Halifax,
or Fisherman's Cove.
Fisherman's Cove, assets around the Coal Harbour Salt Marsh Trail, the wonderful beaches that we have not too far from Dartmouth. These are all things that'll be, we'll do our very best in being as fair and equitable as possible, because there's so many things to actually document and think about.
So it's not a one-stop when you come to Dartmouth. You can continue down to Fisherman's Cove.
Yeah, and I think that's a unique attraction, which is about 10-minute drive from here. And so Fisherman's Cove, the Coal Harbour Heritage Farm, these are things that are technically outside the former boundary of Dartmouth, which are, again, the Fisherman's Museum. These things are not very far away from us.
Thank you, David. We're going to take a break down now. We'll be right back with Destination Dartmouth. Welcome back to Destination Dartmouth. I'm here with my guest, David Harrison, on the beautiful Dartmouth waterfront. David, let's talk about this lovely trail that runs from the Dartmouth Ferry to the Woodside Ferry.
Sure. I guess I have some inside knowledge about it because I was on the board of directors of the Waterfront Development Corporation, where the very first phase of it was put in at the Nova Scotia Hospital lands. Worked closely with Jack Leadham on that initiative with WDC. And then Bruce Hetherington really mobilized the Woodside community to accept the sewage treatment plant down there. And along with that came the next second leg of the trail. The funny thing about it, it was built really without any plan. It just started. It's kind of started on the ends and started pointing where it would go, and maybe that's the best way that it came about. It only recently got finished, and it's now part of the Trans-Canada Trail, and so is the Halifax waterfront, and they're both connected by both ferries, but also by the McDonald Bridge. So the way I look at the Dartmouth Harbour Walk, as it's officially called, is I look at a bit of like a string of pearls. So we have the community college, we have the new Cove initiative, which is a center for ocean ventures and entrepreneurship. We have the Canal Bridge, we have King's Wharf, and we have Alderney Landing. And in between there's just this wonderful walking experience, or Segway, or biking, that connects the two together, and from point to point to point is a really exciting experience.
And if you go down there in the spring, the smell of the clover down by the Woodside Ferry is just breathtaking.
And you have that, and again I mentioned earlier ecotourism. You have some remnants of the natural forest which remain still there. So it's a tremendous asset.
And a beautiful view all the way along.
It's incredible of both Halifax and the harbour.
And out in the harbour.
Yeah. So I think that's a very significant feature of a unique thing that Dartmouth has to offer, and we're seeing increasing usage of it.
And that's only one of our trails. The beautiful trail that runs along Lake Bannock.
Yeah, that trail is a major one. it might even be, it's probably more used because of the boardwalk. I know you've had a huge role in supporting that trail system. But also the Shuby Canal Trail out at the Fairbanks Center.
That is so popular.
Yeah, we have some great trail systems. We have, but in terms of where Dartmouth is heading in development, I see some really unique things happening in the Main Street area, and they're about to be transformed into a mixed-use residential commercial area, with an emphasis on age-friendly living and housing.
We have so many seniors in Dartmouth now.
Well, everywhere. And Main Street was the first community in HRM to adopt an age-friendly community plan. And that involves our health professionals and our clergy and a range of volunteers around the Main Street District group to be a bit of navigator for people that are experiencing issues, whether they be housing challenges, transportation challenges, and also have problems with isolation. And these are some of the main issues facing any community in Canada.
And we in Dartmouth are real happy to have the King's Wharf development, which has been a real catalyst for downtown Dartmouth.
So as we look at development through the center plan or in Main Street in particular, those areas, and Wise Road is slated as well. It will add a lot more people living here, and I think it goes back to my early comment that we have to benefit ourselves by adding value, by knowing and documenting what the community is,
and by promoting
it. We have a lot of new people that have moved into King's Wharf from around Dartmouth.
From other places.
Yeah, and I just
Halifax.
interviewed a woman from Montreal last week who wants to move into Dartmouth, and I think that if we can keep an even balanced keel on the community and be cautious about development, particularly as it might impact our lakes, and to work with communities of interest in terms of being a little less acrimonious.
Because speaking of our lakes, David, our lakes are not as pristine as they used to be. They've allowed development right on the lake shore, which never should have happened.
Yeah, so those issues are part of a broader stewardship role on environment, and that relates to our natural assets that we have. So for sure, I think that Destination Dartmouth will be concerned about environmental quality of our community.
David, our time is running out, but I want to talk to you about the followers we have. While we don't have a membership as such yet, we have a lot of followers.
There are activists and seniors and young people. That really is a broad brush of our community and people from outside Dartmouth. I mentioned some of the tourism niches that we have, and one group that is not well considered are expats. So expatriates are looking for information about Dartmouth. They're not finding it. There's a lot of confusion in the media as to what's what and what's where. So there's value in promoting what's going on in our community. So we have, the other thing about Dartmouth which is unique is that there are at least a dozen pro-Dartmouth Facebook groups. There's probably about 20,000 people that are connected online to what's going on in our own community. It might well be the most virtual city in Canada. That's a unique aspect of what Dartmouth is. And we're learning about things that people are doing all the time, learning about new groups, new initiatives, whether it's on Pleasant Street or North Dartmouth. There's some really tremendous community initiatives.
Well, David, we're going to have to wrap up.
Thanks, Gloria.
And this has been great. And people watching will learn a lot more about our Destination Dartmouth Association. And thanks to you for being one of the leaders of that.
You just keep bringing us the great weather.
That's
and
exactly.
We'll do fine.
We'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Next time I come back with Destination Dartmouth, my destination will be the Burnside Business Park.